Toronto City Council has adopted a bold strategy to reduce community-wide greenhouse gas emissions in Toronto to net zero by 2040. It is one of the most ambitious targets in North America. And to reach net zero, more than 400,000 homes in Toronto must be renovated to be more energy efficient and to reduce fossil fuel use. The city is committed to providing support to help homeowners get to net zero.
I'm Mark Friesner, and I'm working towards getting my house to net zero. Now, the motivation to get this house towards net zero was ultimately comfort, right? That's really what it comes down to, is we wanted to, if we're gonna build this house and put the time and put the expense in, we really wanted to create a comfortable space. It started as a really drafty house, and we wanted to make it more comfortable to live in. So we were already looking at those approaches anyway. So we looked at approaches like insulation and windows and all of the elements that we could put together into a package to give us, ultimate thermal comfort. I got in touch with the City of Toronto, and they are the ones who actually pushed us that little extra distance, telling us about the deep retrofit and the grants and the incentives involved in that. When we tried to classify the style of this home, the closest we could come to is sort of this farmhouse. Now, when it was built, it's over 130 years old. When it was built, this wasn't even Toronto, this was north of the city. And it had this sort of urban farmhouse aesthetic. To get us towards net zero in that direction, we basically had to look at everything. The only real major change for us was to look at decarbonizing, so getting rid of all gas as well, to sort of get us past that deep retrofit threshold line. I mean, this house wasn't designed for energy efficiency, so we had to think about insulation. We had to think about the windows. There really was nothing there. There was drafts coming in. When we removed the baseboard, we had a lot of wind coming in through those points. So, we're looking at insulation, we're looking at air sealing. There's a lot of approaches beyond caulking. You can seal up in places to make the place more comfortable and more stable. Windows, insulation, we're looking at things like renewable energy sources, like solar down the road as well. So my background is architecture. I'm a partner in an office named Design Distillery. We're here in Toronto, and we're taking advantage not just to try and work through some of the details here, but to use it almost as a laboratory, to sort of work through some of those ideas, what works best in this type of old house, to not just do it for ourselves. What we thought we were getting into at the start of this project, obviously when the plaster and lath came off and we discovered, a lot more rot than we had expected. It's an old house. Luckily, because I've got the background and I've been in enough of these houses before with our practice, I wasn't scared. I just knew that the budget was gonna go up a little bit. So, most people factor in a contingency. We did the same. It's just part of construction. We really wanted to try and hold on to the character of the house as much as we can. We kept the front of the house to look as it did, or even better than it did. Probably we tried to make it back to what it was when it was first built, to give that character home the character that it inherently had. We tried to retain as much of it as we could. So, in the basement, I've got a pile of all the old wood that was in here that we've, painstakingly pulled the nails out of and preserved, and we're gonna try and use it for millwork. That was important to us, not just because it's part of the home we wanted to keep in there, but also sort of reduce the carbon impact. One of the toughest things for us has been finding trades that are used to this type of building. It's a different process, it's a different way of thinking as far as going this far into energy efficiency. So in a lot of ways, we've worked through the details ourselves. We're trying to put them together, and that takes time. A lot of the work that happens here happens in the evenings, happens on weekends as much as we can. Working part-time has been a challenge, but it is achievable, and we're definitely getting there. We're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. How can I use the lessons learned here and bring them towards other projects? Probably the best advice that I can give to someone that wants to do something like this is to put together a team. Find people you trust. Talk to them. Find out if they've done something like this before. See if they've got a network of other people, that they've worked with consultants. There's a lot of resources around. There's the HELP program. The great thing about the HELP program is that they've got this roadmap built in. Whether you're looking at the list of grants, whether you are reading in more detail about what those specific parts are, it gives you an idea that, like, if I strive to achieve all of these or some of these things, I'm gonna have better performance in my house and more comfort.